Today I'm going to talk about a very powerful tool called leverage. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through how we train our members on using leverage. So one of the things about leverage is that the person who knows, the investor who knows how to use leverage with some precision can really win the game. By far, can really advance their goals much faster. And as you know by now from my previous videos, leverage plays different roles on your journey. One of the first things it does, it helps you boost you up to the point where you have enough capital, and then you're going to get rid of some of that leverage. It's called deleveraging, and get to your goals much faster. And then it's going to play a different role as an inflation shield. These are things that are so powerful that most investors have no clue about. Now, one of the ways we train our members is we have these frameworks and these mental models so they know exactly what to do, when to do it, and when they're learning this stuff. What I'm going to do, I'm going to walk you through just one or two of our frameworks that you can use yourself. And again, this starts with high level. So knowing that leverage is one of the key parts of building wealth. The problem with leverage is that it can really backfire if you're not sure what you're doing. And most people use leverage without any precision, without any control, without any measurements. And so this is very can really hurt you significantly. So it's very critical that you know exactly how to control leverage and how to make it work for you. Okay. So with that, let me walk you through a few of our frameworks. So this is the first one here. The first one is about understanding that the three requirements for every investment, every single investment, whatever it is, requires these three sides: capital to buy it, the asset that you're buying, and the capital structure, how you structure the debt and the equity part. So I want to start with this here before I get into the details. The same asset, different capital structure, completely different outcome. Two different investors can buy the same thing and end up with very different outcomes. One can reach their financial goals, one can never get there or end up really a bad place financially, all because of the capital structure. It's one of the most important things you need to learn. So here are some notes we have about the capital structure. Again, this is the most overlooked requirement for most investors. Every investment requires these three things we just talked about. Again, capital structure is how the asset is financed. Most investors focus on the asset side. They're thinking, what's the asset, what's the return, all that stuff. That's nice and dandy. But they miss the part that actually is the foundation to your investments, and that's why it's in the bottom of this triangle. Capital structure determines how much of the asset you truly own, how risk is distributed, right, and whether purchasing power grows or erodes over time by simply knowing this one part here. The right capital structure allows you to increase purchasing power, move to the receiving side of the wealth equation. This is based on one of my books. I talk about this, The Debt Millionaire, and grow wealth while managing risk. I will tell you right now that this one part, again, capital structure is simply how much debt and how much equity. For example, let's just say you're buying a property. The property is $100,000 or $300,000. The $300,000, you need to get it from somewhere. It could be from a mortgage, down payment, seller financing, any creative financing you might be doing. All of that is on the capital side. Capital structure is simply how much of that is debt and how much is equity, and how do you match it so that the asset and the capital, the capital structure fits well. So think of the capital structure as the glue between the asset and the capital, and that glue is critical because if you have too much debt, it can really hurt you. If you have too little debt, you're moving too slow towards your goals, and so that ability to refine the amount of debt, percentage of debt, and the capital structure based on the asset is critical. So let me walk you through the next framework here. So let's take this to the next level here. So again, let's go back to, we're going to now focus on the capital structure, understanding under capital structure how much debt, what does that look like? Now, in reality, there are a number of levers that you control. I'm just focusing on two of them right now. So imagine this here is your investment. You've got the asset, you've got the down payment, which is the equity part, and you've got the debt part, the loan. And so what you're going to do is the first lever that you control is the spread between the cap rate and the loan constant, or the asset and the loan. Is the asset producing enough cash flow to pay the debt? Very critical, because you don't want to be paying out of pocket. So one of the things we look at is, does it cover, is there a positive spread? This is critical. The other leverage is how much debt is there. Now, there are a number of variables underneath that, but high level, these are two critical levers. And so what happens here is you want to have the right spread and not too much debt. And so this here, every time you adjust the spread or leverage, it adjusts the risk, meaning the uncertainty, and the return. So you have to make sure that you have just the right amount of debt and the right spreads. So spreads always lower risk and increase returns. But leverage increase returns and increase risk. So you have to know just enough, again with precision. This is why I'm saying only 1% of investors on the planet understand this part. It is critical, but it is one of the best ways to get to your goals much, much faster. So let's go back to this here. So we take this whole diagram and we represent it this way, right? Because this is the spread and this is the leverage. But every single investment on the planet is represented by this diagram here. How much is the spread and how much is the leverage? That's it. Now you might be asking, what is this squiggly line here? Well, it turns out as you increase your leverage, the uncertainty increases as well. That's why we say always use a stable asset, because the volatility, the change in price and in the cash flow doesn't change a lot. But if you have something that changes a lot, like stocks, and you add leverage, now you are taking that and you're multiplying that uncertainty. And that's why you have the squiggly line as a reminder that leverage is constantly increasing that uncertainty. That's why you want to be able to precisely pick the amount of leverage so that the uncertainty is not too crazy. So let's go back to this. This here represents what I just talked about. You have the two main levers. There's actually three for leverage, but I'm just talking about two right now. And just know that each one of those can increase or decrease the uncertainty in the cash flow and the pricing in terms of return, and they both affect risk and return, either positively or negatively. And so once you master this for every single investment, you can really take this to the next level, right? And this is, again, I'm just showing you high level. These are the frameworks. We have a lot more frameworks, but this is some of our frameworks for leverage. And it's really important that you understand these things. One last thing I'll just say, the third leverage is liquidity, which I don't have in here. I just want to mention it because I don't want you to think these are the only two levers. There are many levers that we control, but for leverage, the three critical ones are spread, leverage, and liquidity. So this here, if you can master this, okay, with precision, you can really get your goals much, much, much faster. And you can relate this to other videos we've talked about, and you can start seeing how all of this comes together very nicely. So hopefully this was helpful. If you enjoyed this and you like the frameworks, let us know and give us a thumbs up, and we'll talk soon, okay? And share this video with others that you think would benefit from this. Take care.